Just one more video for the days, guys, before I make it a wrap. Obviously, I just did two others before this one, but I'm going to be talking about the third title fight at UFC 259, which is taking place at the UFC Apex facility in Las Vegas, Nevada, this Saturday night. Yes, three title fights in one card, guys. It's going to be one of the most stacked cards in UFC history, and I'm talking about this bantamweight title picture right now, this bantamweight title fight between the Siberian gangster from Russia, Petr Yan, ice cold in his veins, versus the Jamaican sensation, the Funk Master himself, hailing from Strong Island, Long Island, New York, Aljamain Funk Master Sterling. Obviously, Petr Yan is repping a 15-1 record, while my boy Aljamain Sterling from New York is repping a 19-3 record. When it comes to both of these opponents, obviously, who's had the tougher schedule in their whole entire career to make it to where they are right now? I can't say it's the champ, it's Aljamain Sterling. The body of work that he's been able to put in since his knockout loss against Marlon Moraes a couple years back in California, it's insane. He beat Brett Johns. He beat Cody Stamann, Jimmy Rivera, Pedro Munoz, and then the most recent guy on this hit list, Corey Sandhagen. When you go over the Petr Yan, obviously he's been beating up old guys considered fossils in MMA. He beat Aldo. He beat Faber. He beat Jimmy Rivera. He beat Josh Dodson, who's not even John Dodson, who's not even in the UFC anymore. So when you compare those two resumes with one another and who's done more in their UFC career so far, it's going to be Aljamain Sterling. And I'm just going to go over the physical stats right now with you guys. Aljamain Sterling is 31 years old. He's 3 years the elder of Petr Yan, who is 28. Both these guys, at their height, are 5'6". And then when it comes to the reach advantage, Aljamain Sterling has a 4-inch reach advantage, 71 inches versus the 67-inch reach of Petr Yan. So obviously that's a huge advantage to have going into a title fight, especially for someone who's going into their first title fight, such as Aljamain Sterling. It's going to be very, very important for him to utilize that reach no matter what when it comes to a guy who is very, very dangerous on his feet, such as Petr Yan. And there's one thing about Petr Yan that you guys don't know, is that he used the box before becoming a full-time MMA fighter, a mixed martial artist. And he had a pretty good boxing record as well. I can't really go over it with you because it's just pretty unknown as well, because they don't go over it that much. But he had a very good boxing background, a little bit of a boxing career before transitioning into mixed martial arts. Like I said, both these guys are doing it for where they come from. Petr Yan is trying to make Russia a staple when it comes to mixed martial arts. He's trying to put Russia on the map when it comes to the MMA capital of the world. And then you got Aljamain Sterling that does have Jamaican roots in his family. He's doing it for Jamaica. He's also doing it for all of New York, and he's doing it for his family. He's doing it for his friends. He's doing it for everybody that's ever believed in him. And there's one thing about these two guys, is that they've got unwavering attitudes that never give up spirit, and those guys would rather die than quit inside of that octagon. So just a couple of things I'm going to go over. I'm going to talk about the advantages. I'm going to talk about the disadvantages. And the first advantage that I have to go over is going to be the striking. The striking advantage is definitely going to go to Petr Yan, just because of that boxing background. And he is a human sniper. When he hits on the dot, he will go down. Ask Uriah Faber, because Uriah Faber was getting sniped throughout that whole entire matchup. Ask Jose Aldo, because he was also getting sniped as well. Ask anybody else that Petr Yan has faced, because Petr Yan is a monster on the feet, and his boxing is very crisp. His accuracy is at 100% always, and he's always going in there for the kill. When it comes to Aljamain Sterling, though, his striking is also very crisp. I don't give the advantage to Aljamain Sterling, but he's very unorthodox. When it comes to the movement, that advantage is going to be going to Aljo, because Aljo is very fluent and he's very awkward inside of the octagon. He has a very unorthodox way about him. He's always moving around. You can never really guess where he's going to come from and what he's going to do. And the thing about him is that he sets up some of his combination, his punches, with a leg kick, whether it's a calf kick, a body kick, or a head kick. He always throws a kick first before setting up that, that jab to the hook, or that jab, uppercut, and then that other hook right there. But hey, I have no idea. He's just that awkward when it comes to the movement. He's got that advantage right there. When it comes to the wrestling, I gotta give it to Aljo because he was a multiple-time All-American in Division III wrestling back in college before he decided to transition into mixed martial arts. His wrestling is very, very good, and I gotta give him that advantage right there. But Petr Yan, his takedown defense is crazy, and he's also got some very good wrestling as well. So it's obviously going to be a very, very hard endeavor to achieve that takedown against Petr Yan. It's not going to come easy at all because Petr Yan is going to fight tooth and nail to stay up on his feet because that's where he has the advantage at. When it comes to ground and pound, I got to give that to Petr Yan. The ground and pound that he utilized against Jose Aldo wasn't only violent, wasn't only sickening, but it was hard to watch just because of how beautifully he was able to execute it, and he just left Jose Aldo in a pool of his own blood via that ground and pound. And if Aljo finds himself on the ground with Petr Yan on top, then it might be good night Eileen for that fight. But obviously, Aljo, another advantage I gotta give Aljo over Petr Yan is this BJJ pedigree. The last guy that he submitted was Corey Sandhagen, and that was in the first round. It wasn't even 40 seconds, and he had him out of there lickety split. He had that rear naked choke, and that was just absolutely beautiful. And then the last submission he had before that was a knee bar against Cody Stamann. You don't see that many guys pulling out knee bars in the UFC. So obviously, Aljo, he works with one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsus out there in America, and Matt Serra. That's his mentor, that's his father figure, and Matt Serra has gotten his BJJ to the next level. And if Peter's going to take this to the ground, then he's going to have to make sure that he has some very good BJJ defense, because Aljo is going to bring it to you no matter what, and he's going to throw every single submission out there that the book has to offer in order to get that win. When it comes to footwork, I gotta say it's gonna be tied. It's obviously gonna be tied because Aljo is very awkward and then Petr Yan is very technical. So obviously the awkwardness versus the technicability is definitely going to cancel each other out. So both those fighters are going to be even right there. Speed is very hard to actually say who's got the advantage in, but I'm gonna say it's Petr Yan because when he does throw his strikes out there, they're very fast and you barely see them coming, which is why I call him the human sniper. When you think about someone with a sniper rifle, it comes at you at the speed of light. It comes fast. You can barely even dodge it. It's basically impossible. When it comes to Yan, his boxing plus his speed, his precision, and his agility is a very, very dangerous combination. And when he hits you, you tend to go down. And it's not only with his striking with his hands, it's also with his feet as well. You got to watch out for the head kicks. You got to watch out for the round kicks, the front kicks, the spinning side kicks, because Petr Yan, he's got it all. And if you ask me who's got the main advantage going in here, I believe it's going to be Aljo because he's been tested so many times. His body of work, his resume, all in all, in his UFC career is better than Yan. He's got more experience with a record of 19-3. He's got 22 fights in total. So obviously, he has more experience. He's faced more killers. Petr Yan, his road to the title wasn't really the best one, if you ask me. He didn't really face that many killers, and I believe he's going to have a handful when it comes to Aljo. Is Aljo going to win this easily? I don't think so. Will Petr Yan win this easily? Obviously not. Both these fighters are willing to die inside of the octagon for that gold strap around their waist. But if you ask me who's going to win, I think Aljo is going to pull off the upset. This fight is close to even in the money books. And if you ask me how Aljo is going to win it, I believe it's going to go the full 5 rounds. I think he's going to outwork Petr Yan. Petr Yan had to move camp because of the COVID restrictions back in Russia. Also in Thailand as well, which is where he has the majority of his fight camps. So we had to move it to AKA in Florida. Does he have enough time to actually get adjusted? Did he have enough time to get adjusted, to get acclimated down there in Florida with the rest of those fighters in Boca Raton? I have no idea. Was it really good of him to go down there and train with all those killers and everything? I do believe so, because AKA is literally the best MMA gym in all of the whole entire world and all the MMA world. And they got multiple locations all around the world in different countries. So obviously, even though he's changing camps, he's going to a better one with more experienced fighters to train with more experienced coaches that are definitely good for his overall game, for his overall style, and for his overall fighting career. Yeah, it's a great idea. It was a great move from him and his team, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to beat Aljo. Aljo is determined, and he's got a great team behind him as well over in New York. He doesn't come from a mega camp. He doesn't come from a well-known gym. It's basically been him and a small group of guys, and he's gonna be ready to kill. He's gonna be ready to take that belt. I'm going with Aljo via unanimous decision. I don't think it's going to be a split one, because I think Aljo is going to win this in every single facet, and Petr Yan's going to wish he's never been in there with him. But does Petr Yan have the ability to win and knock out Aljo? Yeah, because Aljo's been knocked down in the past. But if you guys disagree with me, if you guys think that Petr Yan's going to win or Aljamain Sterling's going to win, if you guys agree with me instead, then drop down some comments down there. Let me know who do you think's going to win and by what method. Appreciate you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoy the fights once again. It's going to be a banger. This card is very, very stacked from the top all the way to the bottom, from the early prelims all the way to the main card. So take it easy, guys. You guys enjoy the rest of your nights, and I'll see you later.